Hello and welcome to this feature interview. I'm Kelsey Hubbard. For some months out of the year, we have these months dedicated to certain causes or awarenesses. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. February is Black History Month. These are just some of the popular examples, but some months are not as well known. For example, the month of November is Transgender Awareness Month. We have Orion Rumler, a junior here at Emory and Henry College, to talk about this month and what it means to them. Orion, thank you so much for coming on set.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I would like to get started with a quote that I found online by the National LGBTQ Task Force Executive Director, Rhea Carey. And she says, as we mark Transgender Awareness Month, there is much to celebrate in terms of awareness for the transgender community, but there are urgent issues that must be addressed that directly affect transgender rights. So do you agree with this? Do you think that there's a lot to celebrate and a lot that we need to work on?
Yeah, actually, I think that sums it up pretty well. Like, we've made a lot of progress recently in visibility. Like actresses like Laverne Cox they're a lot more visible right now, and I think that's a really good thing. And I think like a lot more people are just more aware that transgender is a thing. But there's still a lot of issues that need to be worked on. I mean, one example is like gay panic defense is a thing that is legal in every state except California. Where if you're assaulted because you're gay, then that person can use like the legal defense that they freaked out because you're gay, and you can also do that in a trans panic defense. So that's illegal in California, but also the American Law Center people don't. They've tried to get people to not use that, but it's still used a lot. So that's kind of an example that, yeah.
So what do you specifically identify as?
I'm non-binary, so I'm not a guy or a girl, and I've been that way, since I was a sophomore in high school. I haven't physically transitioned because it kind of gets difficult to do that sometimes. Like if I start to physically transition and my state ID doesn't match what I look like, I could get in trouble going in airports or trying to vote. I may not be able to do that. I also have to think about getting a career and finding a job after college, which is kind of a priority over anything else.
Right.
So there's kind of a lot of barriers to transitioning for a lot of people.
And so, at least for people here at Emory and Henry, you use gender-neutral pronouns, and I wasn't aware, me specifically, we had class together, I wasn't aware until probably about halfway through the semester. So why did you, I guess, decide that you decided to go by gender-neutral pronouns? Is it because of this specifically?
Well, I've been using them since high school, but it took me a while to kind of do that on this campus, I guess, because I was nervous, because it's kind of a similar environment to where I went to high school, although this campus is actually smaller than that. So I guess I kind of had to come out again at Emory and Henry, and it took me a little bit.
Yeah, and so I guess what was the reaction of your family and friends when you, I guess, came out to them as transgender and gender neutral?
It was pretty supportive. I'm pretty lucky in that way. My parents were generally pretty supportive. They just didn't know about it. So it just kind of took them a while in that regard. But the fact that I could tell them about it was really lucky for me, because not everybody can do that, coming out in any kind of way. And with friends, I mean, I've always kind of told good friends after I've known them for a little bit. I tend not to spring it on someone as soon as I meet them, just to be safe, I guess, and also just, yeah. So I really only tend to tell people that I know.
Right.
And then if I know someone, they're not mean about it. So.
Right. And so I guess what does having this month, November, to be Transgender Awareness Month, what does it mean to have this month, I guess, for you specifically?
Right now, I think this month means a lot, especially after Orlando this summer, the Orlando shooting. That's still really fresh for a lot of people. And I think that this month, especially after that, it kind of is a really good positive thing, because Orlando happened during Pride Month this summer. So it was kind of a blow, and it's not really a time I think anybody really felt like they could celebrate after that. So having these months, especially right now, I think is good.
Right. And so getting a little political here, what is your opinion about the gender neutral bathroom situation?
I think I think that I can understand how people who aren't exactly educated about certain things might feel uncomfortable or might feel like they don't understand like why people need to use certain bathrooms. But I do think it's a very like basic kind of right, or like something very basic that a lot of people need. And we do have a gender neutral bathroom on campus in the Dialogue and Inclusion Center. So our campus has already kind of moved forward in that regards. And I mean, personally, I like gender neutral bathrooms because that's where I'd like to be. But looking at it from the opposite view, I think if people don't know, then I can understand like why it might bother them.
Right. And so I guess talking about Emory and Henry, this campus specifically, what is there something that you feel like the college is good at to, I guess, including transgender students, and what can we like work on as a campus to fix this if it's not exactly where you think we should be?
I think with the ID Center, the campus has made a big step in a lot of areas, including this area. And I think this campus has changed even since I started here as a freshman. With all the stuff that's happened in recent semesters, I think there's more of a focus on diversity and all that stuff. But for ways to improve, I guess, I know in like, in certain classes, there's kind of this understanding from professors seem to assume that like if a professor brings up like talking about gay people in their class, a lot of professors kind of assume that there's no gay people in their class, and so they'll start talking about these things without really thinking that like I actually have students who are going through this, and they kind of don't show that empathy in a way. And there's actually quite a few transgender students on this campus, and I think professors could also benefit from realizing that like they do have students in these communities, even here. So.
Right. And have you ever, I guess, on this campus or in the world generally, have you ever felt discriminated because of being a transgender student?
Not specifically at Emory. I mean, it's kind of like mostly the same everywhere I've been. Like I'm fortunate because of like some of the other privileges that I have, that I'm white, and I don't like look visibly trans if you don't know, because I haven't physically transitioned at all. I haven't experienced a lot of the kind of violence that we actually remember on the Trans Day of Remembrance this month as part of like the month. So yeah, or no, I mean like at Pride and stuff, you know, there's always like the Western Baptist Church people
Right.
that are there just hanging out.
Right.
But besides that, I haven't experienced anything too bad.
Well, awesome. So thank you, Orion, so much for coming on set and talking about this big topic and everything, and I appreciate you talking to me about it.
Yeah, of course.
This is all for your feature interview. I'm Kelsey Hubbard with Orion Rumler. Now let's take a look at 2 PSAs produced for gun safety and procrastination by our very own EHC 210 students this past spring.